when a date is set up by a shadchan, and two people meet for the first time but notice many negative traits that are deal breakers. Are we allowed to share with the shadchan about all the bad traits noticed in details? Or will it be lashon hara, since she knows the other party as well? What if parents want to know the reason why the potential shidduch isn't good? Can we share details with them? It's very thin ice to walk on. You're only allowed to talk about such things to a person that can help the situation. So to talk to the shadchan about it wouldn't necessarily be as problematic as talking to the parents about it. And the reason why is because even though, let's say for example, you saw that the person, let's say, is not clean. He's not a clean guy or she's not a clean woman. They walk around dirty or they smell or whatever it is. Now, if you tell the shadchan that this person is not clean and you obviously you don't care for that, so you don't want to go on another date, then even though that's not good news, that can actually help that person, because now the shadchan can tell the person, listen, the reason why the shidduch broke is because you didn't look clean, so you have to take care of that in order not to ruin further shidduchim. So in essence, in that case, you'd be helping the person. So that communication would be to his help, to his favor, to her favor. So you can do such a thing, but as long as you do it with tact and so on. Now, as far as to parents, it's a little bit more problematic. And the reason why is because many times the parents can't do anything about it to help that other person. So if you tell them, listen, this person, wasn't clean, or he had a big nose, or he had a small nose, or his eyes were looking in two different directions, all these different things perhaps you didn't like, or he talked too much, or he talked too little. Unless you're still interested in a shidduch and you're looking for guidance of how you should react to those negative traits, there's no purpose of sharing that information with them. Meaning to tell them that you didn't like him because he was this and because it was that, after you've already broken the shidduch altogether, you're not interested in going back, it doesn't really present much value. And if anything, it could create a problem. Why? Because once you tell your mom, oh yeah, this guy, he doesn't stop talking, and he does, no one knows, but he goes gambling, and I didn't like it. So now your mom is going to go tell her friends, yeah, my daughter, she went on a shidduch with Steve over here, but she broke it off. He's no good. Oh, why? Why is he no good? Why is he no good? Oh yeah, you never heard? Oh yeah, Steve gambles. And before you know it, the whole community knows that Steve gambles. And again, even though it's wrong for Steve to gamble, still, it wasn't supposed to become public property. So really, the only time you're allowed to say such things is to someone that can help the person that you're talking about. It's a very, very famous story that I heard recently, that there was a group of girls, and one of them, they got married, got engaged. One frum girl got engaged, and her two so-called best friends, the best friend, everybody's best friend, she's my best friend. Those people, yeah, those best friends got a little jealous. Why? They saw that she's shopping for a chatuna with a dress, and she's talking about she can't stop talking about him. He's so great. I can't wait to marry him. So the girls got jealous. So one time they were on the bus and they started talking about it. They said, listen, can you believe she's getting married? And the other one said, yeah, I can't believe that poor guy is marrying her. Yeah, you're right. I was thinking. Yeah, he's such a nice guy. I saw him. He knows my cousin, and he definitely deserves better. He doesn't realize this girl is the worst girl in the world. She doesn't stop snoring. I remember in camp she was snoring, and also she's a liar, and also this, and also that. I tell you, yeah, but that's not only that. I also know that this, and that. And the whole bus ride, they're going and talking about it. Finally, they get to the stop, they get off, and a woman gets off with them. And she says, hey, ladies, I want to talk to you for a second. She says, yeah? She says, I want to thank you. She says, for what? She says, I want to thank you very, very much. You saved my son's life. The girl's like, who's your son? My son was about to marry that girl. No. Yeah, but now after I know the truth about this girl, I'm going to call my husband right now. We're going to break off the wedding. No way, we're not going to have a wedding. I'm not going to destroy my son like this with this rotten girl. She's terrible. She smells funny. I knew it. The girls started hysterical crying. No. We didn't mean it. No. We didn't mean it. She really doesn't smell. No, it's really this. No, I was just saying because I was jabbed. No, I'm sorry. No, you already told me. I know she smells funny and she's a liar and she's a thief. And all the things you guys are saying, that's it. I'm calling it off. I'm calling the wedding off. No, please. They started hysterical crying for 5 minutes straight. They're begging her, no, don't call off the wedding. They realize they're going to destroy this girl's life. This girl is already in the wedding already, practically, and the mom is about to break up the wedding. Why? Because they said Lashon Hara, these two Reshaim. 5 minutes of crying hysterical, realizing what their big mouths have caused. After 5 minutes, the woman says to them, okay, don't worry. I'm not going to call off the wedding. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. No, but it's not because you're saying thank you. I'm not going to call off the wedding because I'm not his mother. But I wanted to show you how much damage you can cause if I was his mother. The girls were shocked, to say the least. Even more shocked than thinking that she was the mother. Why? Because now they have a lesson that will last for the rest of their life before they open their big mouths. Point is, you're only allowed to say certain things about somebody else if it's for the purpose of helping them. And even then you have to be very careful. Or you're only allowed to say certain things about somebody else if it's to warn somebody else. Meaning if that person is a thief, if that person is a heretic, if that person is a missionary, and so on and so forth, and you're warning people, you're warning even the public, chazaku ba'uch, it's a mitzvah to do it. But to just simply talk about people when they can't really do anything for that person, it's absolutely forbidden. You should look into the Chafetz Chaim. There's a whole series of, it's a book about Lashon Hara. If it's in English, I believe it's probably 3 or 4 books that it's translated to English, and there's a whole encyclopedia of teaching that the Chafetz Chaim HaKadosh put together to teach us about all the laws of Lashon Hara. In so many words, if you don't want to say Lashon Hara, don't talk about other people. That's pretty much the rule of thumb. Don't talk about other people unless you're warning people about a dangerous person. Everything else, even if it's allowed, it's on thin ice. It's on thin ice. How are people not scared to death publicizing something like that in the name of a big rabbi? Oh, when a person has no yirat shamayim, they don't have any fear of any rabbi or anything. As we learned from Avraham Avinu, Avraham Avinu told the people that the only reason why he said that his wife Sarah was his sister is because he says, I saw that there's no yirat shamayim here, and they'll kill me over my wife, meaning that they'll see, oh, she's married to him, so let's just take him out of the picture, and now she's single. But if she's a sister, that means she's single. So when people have no yirat shamayim, then they will do anything. So much so that the Gemara says, you should not put yourself in danger. You should not put yourself in danger. What kind of danger? Don't ever be in a room alone with someone that does not have yirat shamayim, doesn't have fear of God. Like to be in a room alone with an atheist or heretic, alone, no one's there, it's at night sometime, or it's there's nobody else in the office, you're alone. If anybody can walk in and out and you're in a meeting, no problem. But if you're you're alone, you're the only two in an office, you're the only two in a house, or something like that, Gemara says you're putting your life in danger. Why? Someone who does not have yirat shamayim is always suspected that they may kill you if you get them angry. So the point is, the Gemara already tells us that if a person has no yirat shamayim, he's always suspected of a potential killer, or being a potential murderer. Needless to say, to make forgery in documents. So it's just an issue of having no Yirat Shamayim. According to the Torah, how should a man propose to a woman? What is allowed and what is forbidden? And what is the most kosher way? Very, very good question. I don't think we've gotten this question before in public. So Jewish dating is very different than secular dating for a few reasons. Number one, there is no intimacy allowed whatsoever when you are a Jew and you're dating. No intimacy whatsoever. Not even holding hands. Not even a kiss on a cheek. Nothing. You're not allowed to touch the girl's not allowed to touch you. That's Jewish dating. Jewish dating is about getting to know the person and connecting the neshamot and making sure that you have a similar ideology and you want to grow together. No touching whatsoever. Why? Because you don't want anything to distort your opinion, such as lustrous thoughts and otherwise. So when you become physical with somebody, that automatically creates lustrous thoughts and can easily cloud your mind and your judgment. So there's no intimacy whatsoever, even holding hands. Again, I emphasize, even holding hands is not allowed in Jewish dating. Okay, that's number one. Number two, Jewish dating is usually not a very long-term process because there's no physicality and so on. It's not very long. I mean, some people, and some Hasidim, for example, they are very stringent in regards to this, where they give a maximum of 3 dates. This is not the standard, but nonetheless, there are some Hasidim that I know that maximum 3 dates. You go on 3 dates, you decide if you want to get married or not. If you're not getting married to 3 dates, move on. So that's their minhag. That's not common. That's not common though. Most in others, there's many dates. Some 5, some 10, some as many as you need to decide that you want to get married. But that doesn't mean you're going to be dating for 3 years like the secular world does. Why? Because at that point, once you get to a point where it's already many months, the feelings already start getting created even without, and you end up falling in a test. So Jewish dating, generally speaking, is shorter term. I would say, let's say, a few months at most. I have students that have literally dated 3 times and they decided to get married, even though neither one of them grew up in a Hasidic family. And I have some students that it took them 2 months, 3 months to date and they decided to get married. So it all depends, but generally speaking, it's not very long. It's not, we're dating for 9 years or a year and then decide to get married. None of that stuff. So that's another thing. Jewish dating is very short and there's no intimacy. Another thing is that the main focus of Jewish dating is getting to know each other, not spending any time going out on any double dates or getting to know each other's family or all that stuff. First, you want to get to know each other. Why? Because you're marrying each other. You're not marrying each other's family. You're not marrying each other's dog. You're not marrying each other's friends. Generally speaking, it's better not to go on double dates at all. Why? You're not going to develop anything good out of that double date. It may be enjoyable, but you're not going to know if you want to get married or not as a result of that. The whole point of Jewish dating is that it has to be productive. It has to be productive. You have to ask certain questions, and in essence, get to know the person. Once the discomfort is out of the way, and you know who she is, she knows who you are. How old, what's your favorite color, how many brothers and sisters you have, all the basic mumbo jumbo that takes a little bit of time in the beginning. After that, you can start talking about real things. Okay, what do you plan to do? How do you see your life? How many kids do you want to have? Where would you want to live? What would you do first thing? And the dating gets serious. And then I tell people that as if you're really, really serious, you've already dated, you've gone to all the basics. Now you have to start playing house, meaning not chas v'shalom touch each other, but rather play house, meaning you start asking questions of, okay, so let's say we got married, because at that point already you are very serious about each other and you're actually thinking about getting married. So you say, let's say we did get married. What happens now? Okay, wedding, we had the wedding, Baruch Hashem, we had it in the hall you picked, with the caterer I picked, and the all that stuff. Okay, day after marriage, then what? What do we do? What time do we wake up? Oh, I wake up at 10 o'clock. Oh, 10 o'clock. I'm already at work at 7. So, there goes the first argument. Okay, can I continue staying till 10? No, absolutely not. Yeah, but I don't need to go to work. I'm going to be the housewife. Doesn't matter. Why would you sleep till 10? Or some guy will say, sleep till 12. What do I care? So that's the point. You have to have a discussion about that. Then it's okay, so wake up at this time. We'll go to, okay, what are you going to work? You're going to learn? You're going to do both? What do we do? Who's going to do the shopping? Who's going to take out the garbage? Who's going to, which rabbi we're going to go watch? If there is any other rabbi that we would watch other than Rabbi Reuven. Point is, we ask all these different questions, and you go through the whole thing. You literally go through a day, then you go through a week, then you go through a month, then you go through a year. Where do you want to be a year from now? Then you go through 5 years. Where do you want to be 5 years from now? And you could even go 10 years. These discussions could literally last a century. But the point is, you're supposed to get a very good idea, because that's usually the time where there's going to be the most amount of differences that matter. And you have to decide if they matter or they don't matter. Now, once you've gone through this part, and you decided, okay, we agree on most things, we've settled on other things, we learn how to cope with everything else, okay, let's get married. The marriage at that point is not like the secular world where it's a complete surprise. Oh, he took me to a field, he took me to a baseball game, and there was a balloon in the sky telling me, will you marry me? That's only in movies and in Goyim world. That's not Am Yisrael. Am Yisrael is in essence a decision that's mutual. It's a decision that's mutual. By the time he asked her to marry him, that decision is simply made already, meaning we've agreed to do it. Surely you could be romantic, you could buy her a nice dinner and flowers and so on, and a ring, whatever, but there's no, it's not really that much of a surprise, first of all. Second of all, forbidden to kneel on your knee. Forbidden to kneel on your knee. Why? She is not God. Jews are not allowed to kneel on a knee to anybody other than a Kadosh Baruch Hu. No kneeling. You could sit down, she could sit down, and you're both sitting down and say, listen, I want to marry you, I love you, I care for you, I think we can grow, blah, 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 all that good stuff. Yeah, after she says yes, Bezrat Hashem, no kissing, no hugging, even though you're going to get married tomorrow, that'll make a difference. Still no affection until after the wedding, assuming she's Torah. There's no kneeling whatsoever. Now, after you've decided this is a good person, now if you have good manners, before you even ask the girl to marry you, you should go and speak to her father. If her father is a Shomer Torah v'mitzvot, if he's observant, if he's Torah observant, then you want to get his okay, you want to give him the respect that and the honor that you want to marry his daughter, and you want to have his his okay. But I can tell you something. Unfortunately today, if you haven't noticed, most Jewish people are not as religious as we would like for them to be, hence the reason why we do this shuling. Okay? So because of that, there are many secular people, and there are many secular-minded religious people that instead of caring about their daughter or their son building a Jewish home, they care about reputation. So sometimes you would have it where a parent will make the mistake of getting in the way of a marriage of their child, telling their daughter not to marry a certain young man because a certain young man doesn't come from a family that's good enough, or he doesn't have the right color, or the right height, or the right bank account, or the right something. Complete sinat chinam, prejudice, disgusting behavior, but they say classy, like as if, no, it's not good for you. First and foremost, you should know that parent is not only making a sin from the Torah by getting in the way of that zivug, that parent's life is on the line. Meaning, a Kadosh Baruch Hu is very likely to kill that parent. That's how bad it is. You look at the Sfarim HaKadoshim, you look at Sefer Hasidim, you look at several other places that talk about people that get in the way of a zivug, their life is on the line. The fact that they're alive every day is a miracle. A miracle. I've had this situation a few times. People come to me and tell me, listen, my father doesn't want me to marry this girl. My father doesn't want me to marry this guy. My mother doesn't want this. My mother does that. I said, do you love your parents? She said, yeah, that's why I'm asking you. I said, okay, if you love them, don't listen to them. Why? They're making a sin from the Torah. Don't listen to them. If the boy is good, the girl is good, the Shomer Torah mitzvot, they keep the Torah. The person you're picking is a good person. They're not, a crackhead. They're not a gangster. They're good. They keep Torah. They keep mitzvot. They're just not rich, or they're just, I don't know, not Ashkenazi, or they're not Sfaradi. Nonsense. But they're a good person, that's it. Marry them, don't listen to your parents. Yeah, but what if they don't come to the wedding? Don't come. What if they disown me? Let them disown you. Why? If you love your parents, you're not going to listen to them. Why? It's a sin to listen to them. If they tell you not to marry somebody. Even if they tell you to delay the wedding, it's a sin to delay the wedding. Not allowed to delay the wedding. Gemara talks very harshly on people that delay weddings. Literally puts the person's life on the line. So this, unfortunately, is becoming more and more common where parents cause their kids disaster. They end up leading their kids to sin. Din karet sins. The kids end up going against Hashem because they're trying to please their parents. Why? They're not letting her marry him. They're not letting him marry her. So what do they do? Okay, you know what? I love you. I want to marry her. But they don't want us to get married, so let's act like we're married anyway. Or better yet, okay, she doesn't want to marry. Okay, so you know what? I'll just find anybody. They end up cheating or doing all types of things. And then again, that parent becomes a machtia rabim. A machtia rabim, the Rambam writes, in Chot Tshuva, is a person that HaKadosh Baruch Hu withholds his Tshuva, doesn't allow him to do Tshuva in a normal way. So if you're a person that knows another person, or you yourself are in a person where your parents are telling you not to get married to a specific person that's a good quality person that keeps Torah and mitzvot, and there's really nothing wrong with them, it's just that they prefer somebody else for you that they believe is better, do not listen to them. Do not listen to them. And I've actually had situations where I told the parents to their face, that they're making a big sin and they're going to get punished for it if they don't change right away. And I told this to them right next to their kids. And I told their kids not to listen to their parents. Why? Because it's for their parents' good that the kid doesn't listen to them. Am I allowed to buy fish from a non-Jewish store, or do I have to buy it from a Jewish store? And also, am I allowed to buy a whole fish from a non-Jewish store? Very good question. So, as far as fish is concerned, if a person is buying a kosher fish, a Jewish person, they're buying a kosher fish, then it has to be a complete fish. It has to be a complete fish with fins and scales, or it has to be uncooked, meaning you can buy a fish, like let's say if they chop their head off, but you can still has a skin on it, has fins and scale, no problem. No problem. The fact is, the point is that you have to be able to tell that this is a kosher fish. You cannot buy a fish if it was from a non-Jew, if it was, let's say, even a kosher fish, but they smoked it. Like, for example, somebody asked me recently, can I buy smoked salmon or some other type of fish from a non-Jewish store? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. If it's a kosher fish and it has the fins and scales on it, you can buy it. No problem. If if you can tell that it's a kosher fish, no problem. You can buy it from a non-Jewish store. But if it's just something that was cooked, or you can't really tell whether it's a kosher fish or not because they've already filleted and so on, you should not buy the fish from anywhere that's not kosher, because many times they tell you it's one thing, but it's really not, and you have yourself a very serious problem. Should we forgive someone who has no idea they did anything wrong to us and would never admit it? What can we do to remove this grudge from our heart? Does this bring harm to us if we try to forgive, but our heart can't forget? The Jewish people are forbidden. It's forbidden for them to hold a grudge. Forbidden for them to hold a grudge, as well as forbidden for them to take revenge. It's a Sefer HaChinuch in, I think it's Mitzvah 243. He talks about how it's forbidden to have any grudge against someone else, or the following mitzvah, take any revenge against someone else, because in essence, when you have a grudge against someone else, you're in essence instilling power in that person that they had the power to harm you without Hashem authorizing it. And instead of realizing that Hashem only authorized them to harm you because you made sins. So it's forbidden for us to have any grudge against anyone else or to take revenge against someone else unless it's monetary. Meaning, unless they stole money from you or took advantage of you monetarily, you're allowed to have a grudge against them until they return the money. For everything else, not allowed to have a grudge. Because again, anything that they do bad to you is in essence approved by God. It's approved by God. So the most important thing for a person to do is to do tshuva, to learn more and more about character traits, more and more about developing themselves and getting themselves closer to Hashem by understanding their own flaws. And the more you understand your own flaws and start working on fixing your own flaws, the more merciful you are going to become on other people's flaws. The reason why we're very judgmental on other people many times is because we are not judgmental on ourselves. We're judgmental on others because we're not judgmental enough on ourselves. When we're judgmental on ourselves, we become more merciful on others. So the more judgmental of yourself for the sake of positive things, meaning to fix yourself, the more judgmental on yourself you are in order to improve yourself, the more merciful you will become on other people, and the less likely you are to hold that grudge for a very long time. And so long as you still have a grudge, that means that you have not completed your tshuva, so you have to do it. Now, whether that brings harm or not, I'll give you two examples. In this week's parasha, Be'ezrat Hashem, in this week's parasha, we see that Yosef HaTzadik meets with his brothers. Now, in next week's parasha, Yosef HaTzadik uncovers the secret that he is the brother, he is the viceroy, and they end up reconnecting after a very extraordinary scene where they all literally die from embarrassment, and then Hashem resurrects them. But the point is that they all end up moving to Egypt, and he takes care of them. But at the end of next week's parasha, it says that Yosef died at the age of 110. Yosef died at the age of 110, and the Chachamim say the reason why Yosef died earlier than the rest of his brothers by 10 years is because Yosef never truly forgave his brothers. He never truly forgave them. Even though he was able to deal with them, cope with them, be nice to them, he never truly forgave them, and that cost him 10 years of his life. Now, Yosef had 120 years in this world. Who says we have 120 years? So to lose 10 years for not forgiving is obviously very expensive. On the other hand, what about the brothers that weren't forgiven? The Midrash says that because Yosef never truly forgave his brothers, they all could not complete their mission in the world and had to be reincarnated as the 10 martyrs, the 10 tzaddikim at the time of the Gemara and before the time of the Bet HaMikdash, the 10 tzaddikim that were murdered in the most vicious, horrific way you can humanly possibly comprehend. It's just something that is beyond you, and just what they did to them. For example, with Rabbi Akiva, they peeled his skin layer by layer while he was alive, layer by layer, and eventually sold his meat in the market to eat. Rabbi Hanina, they burned him with a Sefer Torah, but they made sure to put a sponge on his heart to make sure that he continues staying alive for as long as possible. And so on and so forth. You want to go and to see about the 10 martyrs, the 10 tzaddikim that were murdered in cold blood by the Reshaim, and you see Gemara Masechet Gitin goes into details, also in Gemara Masechet Brachot and other places, but Masechet Gitin I believe goes into, I think, all of them. Anyway, the tragedy here was not for no reason. Why? Because these Chachamim, these 10 martyrs were the reincarnation of the Shvatim, of the tribes, the 10 tribes. And the only reason they had to come back and live a whole life, be big tzaddikim just like they were, is because Yosef did not forgive them. Did not forgive them. So that means that holding a grudge not only hurts yourself, but it also hurts the person that you have a grudge on. So please do as best as you can to do as much tshuva as you can to eliminate any grudge, because the more you understand how Hashem runs the world, the more you're going to understand that any harm that comes to you or any good that comes to you is only from Hashem.